All right, everybody, we are live on YouTube. Shabbat Shalom. I'm going to go ahead and do the sad task of muting us all here. We'll have some chances to hear each other's voices throughout services, but for now, Shabbat Shalom, and I'm going to click the button. All right, everybody. I hope that you have all had good weeks, whatever has led you to joining us now, whatever the week has held. It is Shabbat now. It's this chance to take a little break, a little step back to reflect on the week that's gone by, to think about what does the coming week have to bring for us. And I'll share our Sidor. We'll start with words of gratitude, of moda ani, thinking about, this practice, the first words that we are supposed to say when we get up in the morning. Moda ani, I am grateful that my soul has been restored, that I have this day. Moda ani So I want to invite you to think about just one thing this morning, one thing that has happened that you are feeling grateful for. You don't need to share it out loud, but if you want to share in the chat, just one thing that you are feeling grateful for this morning, and then we can take a look as services continue. For anyone wearing a talit this morning, I'll invite you to join me for our blessing over wrapping ourselves in a talis. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit. Amen. So friends, we have a lot of prompts in our morning liturgy for gratitude and for joy. And I think these are here for us because sometimes it's not easy, especially in the beginning of the day, especially in the morning when we wake up. Maybe our minds are burdened. Maybe a lot is going on. And so our liturgists, the people who put together our Sidurim, started intentionally with hoda'ah, with gratitude, our moda ani, with tov, with goodness, ma tovu. And so we'll sing just a few lines, ma tovu, just these first two lines. Wherever you are, I invite you to raise your voices to sing. The beauty of this Zoom situation is that the only people who can hear you, if you're nervous or shy about singing, nobody's judging you. So we'll sing these words, ma tovu. Asher Matovu. How great are your tents, your dwellings, O Israel. About recognizing what is good in our physical surroundings. So I want to invite you, look around your home, wherever you are right now. One thing in your own surroundings where you can find beauty. I'm looking over to my left and I see some beautiful light coming in through the window. Moving from our surroundings, bringing attention to our own selves, our own bodies. Asher Yatzar, this blessing that recognizes what a miracle it is that our bodies just work. They don't have to be working perfectly, but they all work well enough that they have gotten us here this morning. So I'll invite us all to read this English together. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom, you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware, we would lack the strength to stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Baruch atah Adonai, rofeh chol basar, u'mafli la'asot. So moving from our physical bodies to the holiness that they contain. Elohai Nishama, this prayer over our souls, that each of us has a pure soul implanted within us. Shabbat is this time where we can connect. Elohai Nishama Shenatata Tehoraki Elohai Nishama Shenatata Tehoraki Elohai Nishama Shenatata Our prayer, Psalm 150, hallelujah. Just yesterday and the day before, we celebrated Rosh Chodesh Elul, the beginning of the Hebrew month of Elul. And during Rosh Chodesh, it's traditional to sing psalms of praise, hallelujah, being one of those psalms, this prayer that lets us think about the holiness that exists, Kol HaNeshama, in every one of our souls. And so I want to invite you to try to take a few breaths, to get a little bit looser, feel a little bit more freedom in your body, if that means swaying back and forth, if it means centering yourselves and having your feet touch the ground. And this prayer, it talks about all of the instruments in our repertoire that can help us make a joyful noise. And the final instrument is us. So if you do have an instrument, if you want to use a box of pasta as a shaker, if you want to use the table in front of you as a drum, your own body, whatever it is, or just your own voice, however you can shout out that joy, please join. Hallelujah, 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 every portion, hallelujah, 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 תהלליה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, הללויה, כל הנשמה תהלליה, hallelujah. I invite you to take a deep breath, and if you are able to rise for our Baruch Hu. Continue reading our Yotzer prayer, talking about this endless cycle of creation. We don't know what the next day will bring, but we know that every day sun rises and sets, and this is something we can expect. So we'll read together. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy you illumine the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness, you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai. In wisdom, you formed them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai, our God, for the excellent work of your hands and for the lights you created. May they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion that we may all swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly lights. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer ha-me'orot. Continue with our Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam. We can be seated. Chant together our V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'chayu הדברים האלך אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Our Micha Mocha, our song in celebration of freedom. as we prepare for our Amidah, I want, in the reflective nature of Elul, I want to invite you, before we rise, to think of what is one thing that you want to metaphorically stand up for in this coming year. It can be a cause that's about you. It can be something for somebody else. But what's one way that you want to stand up and have your voice be heard this coming year? And with that, I'll invite us to rise if we're able. Adonai sifatai tivtach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotinu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah gibor leolam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah v'choshia, Morid atah, Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לו, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו, אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו, אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ורחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור, הללויה, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. We can go ahead and have a seat. Continue our words of Visham Ru, really one of my very favorite one-liners that shows up in the margins of our full Mishkan Tefillah, our full prayer book. Ahad Ha'am, great theologian, said that more than the Jewish people has kept Shabbat, Shabbat has kept the Jewish people. And I think this is so true, especially in light of our times of being a little bit more in isolation than what we're used to, that Shabbat provides us an opportunity to come together, no matter where we are, what's going on, to see each other's faces and to celebrate this holy day. השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורות דורות עולם וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש Shabbat vayinafesh, Shabbat vayinafesh, V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, לעשות את השבת לדורות Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Let's read together. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai, our God, grant us your holy Shabbat as a heritage. May Israel, who sanctifies your name, rest on Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat. So I want to open it up to us today. If there is anything that we are feeling grateful for, if you'd like to type that in the chat or take a moment, unmute yourself so we can hear your voices and share in those blessings as one community. Anything that you want to express gratitude this morning for. I will say that I'm grateful. I've noticed in this past week, the weather at points starting to get a little cooler. Maybe there's some recognition that fall could truly be coming. Anybody else, anything, it can be big or small, that you want to share gratitude for? For health, okay, I'm seeing more. Ellen, for voting, and yes, I hope that everyone has a voting plan. If you need help with the voting plan, feel free to get in touch with me at any moment. Our freedom to vote that should be a given right. Anything else? Certainly good health, yes. For Shabbat, beautiful, for just this chance to take a step back, to be able to have this time together with our beautiful community. Amazing. Some people are saying you automatically receive an absentee ballot. Wow, you know, for that technology and that process to work, to get us our absentee ballots, right? I think for this ability to be creative in this time. All right, and Manny and Fran, I see a hand raised. I want to make sure, did you have something you wanted to add?
I'd say waking up in the morning and being healthy. Thankful for that.
Amen. Waking up.
And I would like to say for friends.
For friends. Beautiful. All right, my friends. Well, for all of our blessings in our lives, those named and unnamed, we are grateful. We share in our gratitude. And now I want to invite you to take just a few moments of silent reflection. Have that time to go within the depths of your heart, pray whatever words you need, and we'll join back together with words of Yehiyu. Yehiyu Ratzon Yimefi Lefi Yoni Lefanecha Adonai Tzuri Adonai So we will shift our focus into our Torah section. And I'll go ahead and share our Torah blessings. And I want to invite anybody who has done any reflecting, who has taken this month of Elul and started to think about what are you reflecting on about the past year and what you're looking forward to. Anyone who has engaged in this level of introspection, if you would like to unmute and help lead us in our blessings for engaging with Torah. Does anybody feel like you want to help lead us in these blessings today? And go ahead and just unmute since I can't see all of us.
I'll do it.
Great. All right. So Eric, please lead us off.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai
hamvarach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher baruch banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. So I'll pull up our Torah for this week. We are looking at Parshat Shoftim in the book of Deuteronomy. We have been in Deuteronomy for a few weeks now. We started with Moses standing and kind of giving a recap of everything that had happened before. And now we're going to get some rules and guidelines for the Israelite community. So I'll chant a few verses and then we'll look a little bit more at their meaning. Amen. Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha bechol she'arecha asher Adonai Elohecha noten lecha lishvatecha ushaftu et ha'am mishpat tzedek lo tateh mishpat lo takir panim v'lo tikach shochad ki ha-shochad ye'aveh einei hachamim v'sal'ef divrei tzedakim tzedek tirdof למען תחיה וירשת את הארץ אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך. לא תיטע לך אשרה כל עץ אצל מזבח אדוני אלוהיך אשר תעשה לך, ולא תקים לך מצבה אשר שנאי אדוני אלוהיך. And I will share our closing blessing. And we can all join with our closing blessing together. Eric, would you like to unmute so we can have your voice leading us again?
Sure. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tzidkenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Thank you. So we are in an iconic Torah portion this week, Parshat Shoftim. So it starts by saying, Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha, that you should appoint magistrates and officials over all your tribes, and those are the people that are going to be set up to judge the community. It's almost the first legal system that's going to give way to all of the judges and the process for law to take place. And then we get to the third verse of this Torah portion, which is Deuteronomy 16:20. Tzedek, tzedek tirdof. For how many of you is this line familiar? Tzedek, tzedek tirdof. Maybe just kind of a raise of hands on your Zoom screen. All right. So this line, justice, justice, you shall pursue. Now, I want to talk about these three words because they have become almost a catchphrase, a motto for our reform movement. Justice, justice, you shall pursue. What do these words mean? If we're talking about setting up a system of judging people fairly, tzedek, tzedek tirdof. Now, there's a question in Torah, why would we have two words repeated? It's very rare in Torah. Put yourselves back into the minds of the ancients. Now, to have something written down in the first place, it's a big process. We need to physically prepare every piece of parchment In the Torah, we need to physically make a special blend of ink. And so, according to the rabbinic perspective, if there's ever, every word in Torah holds its own importance. If there's ever a repetition of something, then this is kind of the author's, a divine calling to us that we need to pay attention. And so we could say just tzedek tirdof, right? You should pursue justice. That would be a pretty strong command. But instead of just one, we have tzedek, tzedek. We have a repetition of this word, tzedek, justice, the same word, the root for tzedakah, right? For charity, for acts of justice that we can pursue ourselves. So I want to open this up. I'll say one thing that I've been missing a little bit in these past months over Zoom is sitting in our sanctuary together and being able to just walk off the bima and walk kind of into the midst of everyone there and really having more of a discussion. So I wanted to try this week and open this up a little bit more because I do miss people's voices. So if you have, does anybody have thoughts? Why might we have a repetition of this word tzedek? Why, going through that perspective that every single word holds power and meaning, why do you think we might have this repetition of the word tzedek? Anybody want to jump in with some thoughts you have? Robert.
I think it's a stress of the Jewish religion, a chunk of it devotes itself to law. The Mishnah and then the Gemara on the Mishnah, it's law on the law almost. So the crux of the religion is based on law, whereas a lot of religions are based on just belief. William James always called it belief justified, but Jewish is different. It's regulated by a lot of not law like thou shalt not, but legal debate, I should say.
Yeah, so picking up on, some people will say that Judaism is more deed over creed, that this is one way we can explain a difference, right? That it's very much about our actions. So pursuing justice is a very, you have to engage in this. You have to actually act. Nice. Anybody, any other thoughts? Why would we have the word tzedek twice? We already know that we're supposed to rule favorably. We're supposed to be even keeled. All right, I'm seeing Ellen typing in our chat, emphasis, pay attention. If this is grammatical, it would be an exclamation mark. All right, so we don't actually have grammar and punctuation in the Torah, right? We get that a bit with our trope, with our cancellation that comes in later. But if we look at a Torah, we don't have exclamation marks, we don't have periods, we don't have commas. It just is. So maybe this is really cueing us, definitely emphasis, justice. Other thoughts? Yeah, Eric.
I agree. It's just to emphasize that our whole Torah is about fairness. There's such an emphasis on pursuing fairness for all people. And I think this just emphasizes it, makes it very clear that this is the emphasis of our whole, of what we should pursue.
Nice. All right, Prima.
I think it's I think yes, it's an emphasis, but I also think that it's important because sometimes the people stray and things could be said in different words but mean the same. So I just think that they wanted to emphasize how important it was by saying it twice in a nice way.
Nice. Okay. Yes, go for it, Teddy. Do you want to unmute?
Also, they had, in the paragraph before, they were appointing people above other people, appointing magistrates and overlords over their different tribes and settlements. And I think it was to make sure that we understood that they weren't being put there to be, shall we say, to be nice to people or to be cruel to people, but to be just towards the ones they were put over.
Yeah, nice. Anybody else have Any other thoughts? So one thing, when we have repetitions of words like this, and it's not often, the rabbis would say, well, if it says tzedek, if it says this word justice twice in a row, we must be talking about two different kinds of justice. So some, and we have a lot of different opinions offered to try to interpret this, just as we offered some different opinions today. So some will say, we have two justices. So one is a justice that is for our community, right? We're talking about the Israelite community and how we should behave within, right? So those judges and magistrates are going to be looking at the in-group, the people who are within the Israelite community. And then it has another word, justice, because we should remember that it's not just about us. It's not just about our immediate community, but we also have a responsibility to zoom out and to look at other communities as well. So it's great to focus on one kind of internal justice, but we can't let that overtake us from looking at the outside. And similarly, we can't just focus on what's going on outside of our world and not look at how it's affecting our community and those closest to us, that there has to be some kind of balance. Other perspectives are, that these justices, these words tzedek, have to do with different kinds of justice or judgment that we enact. So when we're talking about tzedek, so any different interpretations, so tzedek in terms of how we deal with other people, maybe our actions, our physical active pursuits, right? So if that's standing up and going somewhere and showing up, and also that we, if we're not somebody who is able to physically stand up, that's tzedek, that it can also be done in different ways according to our own strengths. So there's a midrash that says when God was giving the 10 Commandments and the Torah orally on Mount Sinai, that all of the Israelite community was gathered and everybody experienced this moment of revelation. And there's a midrash in Exodus Rabbah that says that how did people experience this, right? Did they hear God's voice? Did they see it? What was it? And it says that every single Israelite experienced revelation according to their own strengths. So if a person was, say, quite verbal, maybe they heard it. If a person was artistic, maybe they saw something. But however they processed, that was actually how their revelation was. Maybe they felt something, maybe they sensed something, but according to what you are strongest at. And so maybe this tzedek tirdof teaches that there are many different paths of pursuing justice, and that it's repeated because lest we think that our pursuit of justice has only to do with that first line for judges, right? Lest we think that justice is only about what happens in a courtroom. No, we can enact this in different ways. Lest we think that justice is only sitting and writing something. Well, no, you can do justice. All of us have the ability to pursue justice in our own way, according to our own strength. And I think that in this time of Elul, this time where we are in that month leading up to our holy days, this is the time for reflection in our own lives. It's a time to think about, what have we done this past year? What do we want to do? And I want to use this Torah portion as a prompt to guide us in some of this reflection as we go through the next month to our high holidays. And I want to invite you to think, there's a lot going on in our world. I've heard from discussions and from a lot of different conversations that it is easy to feel knocked down by our current situation, whether that is being confined at home, whether that is watching the political world around us. Whatever it is, we have our own ability to pursue justice. We don't need to change the entire world. Rabbi Hillel said that it's not up to us to complete the work of this world. It's not up to us to fix everything, but neither are we free to desist from it. But we can't just sit back and be overwhelmed, that we all have the ability to, in some ways, be a pursuer of justice. Whether that is a tiny act, that can be saying hello to somebody, that can be whatever you want to do, but the message, the repetition, is that we all have the ability to pursue justice, no matter what our position or state in life is. So I want to invite you to think about, what is something in this coming month or an intention to set for the next Jewish calendar year of 5781? What is the way that we can live up to this call of our Torah portion this week? What is a way that we in our own lives can be a pursuer of justice? All right, so I'll bring us back to our Siddur. And at this time, I want to turn our thoughts to those who are ill in our community. Anyone who we're praying for in need of healing, healing of mind, healing of body, healing of spirit. And on our Mishaberach list, I'll go ahead and read it off. We have a long list this week, and I'll invite people to also type names in the chat that I can add. So our Beshert community this week is thinking about Jesse Sakharoff, Ronnie Turek, Ira Weiss, Elena Drucker, Alan Freemer, Susan Bilecki, Andrew Matsella, Michael Luck, Barry Strumpf, Selma Carl, Jacqueline Halpern, Sherry Weissman, Gigi Bias, Brendan Bias, Margot Bias, Suzanne Leknos, Mel Lipton, Linda Kushner-Silverman, Esther Botlucy, Bruce Loomish, Marilyn Broadbar, Joellen Fox, Barbara and Irv Weiner, Andy Glansman, Ira and Deanna Roth, Ellie Heinrich, Phyllis O'Neill, Marcy Babiatsky, Shirley Amrani, Sue Ann Fishkin Horowitz, Stella Cohen, Susan Shuro, Iris Merlis, May Sun Lee, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Giddle, Bina Bat Yaakov, Eddie DeAngelis, Nettie Trommer, Mia Gannon, Vicky Letnaker, Dolores Weinberger, Ingrid Grosso, Roberta Gotthelf, Audrey Cohen, Fran Sisler, Ruth Rybeck, Harumi Rhodes, Hiroko Yajima, Bert Migdal, Haley Migdal, Lottie Bloom, Roberta Hyrith, Martin Bennett, Liz Yasuda, Park Ching Lam, Richard Zagame, Mark Steiner, Paul Steiner, Monica Beyer, Patty and Erwin Cohen, Marion Mandel, Mimi Karp, John Carfisi, Francis O'Haran, Orlando Aiello, Ronnie Katlowitz, David Gershon, Stanley Tenon, Shelley Samet, Bert Migdal, and Roberta Hyrath. And then let me pull it up from our chat. Michael Moore, Nancy Connor, Michael Datch, Dave Stanger, Jeff Weissman, Rebecca Rothstein, Bambi Polk, Jane Berman, Harry Bauer, and Louise Dankberg. And my apologies if I've mispronounced any of these names. We'll join together in our prayer for healing, our Mishaberach. Mishaberach Avoteinu Mikol habracha leimotenu. They are source of strength, who bless the ones before us. Help us find the good If we're able, I'll invite you to rise for our Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabech la'adon hakol, lateit gidula liotzer reshit, shehu notei shamayim v'yoser aretz, u'moshav yikaro v'shamayim mimal, u'shchinatu zo b'kolchei meromim, Eloheinu Einot, ve'anachnu korim u'mishchachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu ve'nemar ve'chaya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, u'shemo, u'shemo echad. Can be seated. And I want to invite you now to think of anyone, any loved ones that we have lost at this time in seasons past, and loved ones whose memories we hold. Our Beshert community is honoring the memories of those recently deceased: Michaela Schaefer, Helen Ziegerman-Schwimmer, Ido Sheffy, Elaine Gordet, Stephen Kamholtz, Carol Gross, Carol Andre, Robert Serpico, Jeanette Riley, Melvin Barash, William Lampy, Ina Sandals, Martin Schenken, Solomon Titelbaum, Howard Jankelowicz, Sean Singer, Jeff Harris, Sammy Berger, Rabbi Kenneth Roseman, Chaim Braunzweig, Harry Baylor, Ben Schaefer, Shirley Hyatt Tobias, Myron Klein, Ted Tobias, Rita Bile, Jay Jankelowicz, Sandy Gannon Abel, David Ribler, Bess Newman, Buzz Lorch, Benjamin Benyomin Elwood, Edward Albino, Joseph Davis, Jerry Sharon, Gary Zeitlin, Sean Devlin, David Levy, Lenny Drucker, Beverly Trudinick, Evelyn Pincus, Rita Spiro, Beatrice BJ Jacobs, Melvin Jergrau, Gloria Katzen, Lorraine Elmer, Amanda Corwin, and Joseph Bosch. And from our chat, we will add the names: Lila Riemann, Selma Gold, Jeff Harris, Jason Dworkin, who this is the 6-month anniversary of his passing today, Abby Sheck, and Ted Gordon, as well as, today, remembering from Helene the elimination of the Tzaddik ghetto on August 14th, 1942. So all that were lost there. If there's anybody else you want to add, I would invite you to unmute to call their names. Was someone?
Yeah. Hi, this is Manny. My sister, Regina Lerner. It's a yard sign.
Thank you. All right, so we will join back together for words of Kaddish. And I'll invite you to participate according to your custom. If you don't have your own custom, I will invite you to rise. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם עולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו amen. We can be seated. And let's see, Eric, do we have any announcements this week?
Sure. Good Shabbos, everybody. Tomorrow at 7:30 p.m., we have a Zoom presentation of memories of childhood in Brooklyn, an evening with author William Gralnick, and it's going to be moderated by Ron Schweiger. It's at 7:30. You should register at brooklynmemories.eventbrite.com, even though we also sent you the Zoom link, just to have an idea of how many people are coming. Bill Gralnick, he's a retired Southeast Regional Director for the American Jewish Committee. And it happens that his parents were members of Temple Beth Emet. And he has some fond memories of Rabbi Kloner and Cantor Davidson. But he's going to be talking about his book, The War of the Itchy Balls, and other tales from Brooklyn. So it should be a good, very enjoyable evening with memories of his growing up in Brooklyn.
Eric, what is the website to go directly to? I know you emailed us one, but if you want to register,
To register, it's brooklynmemories.eventbrite.com.
Thank you.
And I just put it in the chat, and I'm sure we can find definitely links on the Bashert website and that have gone out in emails the past week. And if you need more help, we'll happy to.
Yes, I actually sent it last night.
Yeah, amazing.
Also, next, besides us having Shabbat on Friday night and Saturday, MB Akkad next Saturday at 9:45, and then services at 11. Also on Friday night, Rabbi Hoover is doing an Elu writing workshop prior to services at 7 o'clock. But next Sunday, Ludmud North America is having another e-festival, and I encourage you to try it. It's from 12:30 to 5 o'clock. You'll have many sessions to choose from, varying from Jewish culture, Jewish history, dance, music, cooking.
Everything. Limud's got something
Everything.
for everyone.
Something for everybody. And you just need to Google Limud North America e-festival, and you'll get all the particulars to register prior to the event, which is next Sunday, August 30th from 12:30 to 5. What it is at 12:30, they're going to have an opening ceremony of sorts. And then from 1 to 5, there'll be 4 separate sessions where you get to pick what you would like to attend during those 4 different time periods. And for the cost of only $36, which is a donation, you get to participate. So I highly encourage you to attend.
Great.
And enjoy the rest of the week. Shabbat Shalom. You'll be getting information during this week, additional information about the high holidays with schedule and other valuable information.
Thank you. And another announcement, well, we in this space are all, let's say, graduate ages of religious school. If you know anybody who would like to, well, who's already a current religious school student, or anybody who you think might be interested in our B'Sher Religious School, registration is open. You can find information on the website, and our first day of class will be September 12th. So just a song.
May I add to the announcements before you?
Oh yeah, please, Ellen.
I just wanted to let you know that the Brooklyn Memories is a membership program, and there are 2 other ones that I really would love for you to think about. They're also on Eventbrite. They're 2 cook-alongs themed to the High Holy Days and the festival holiday of Sukkot. The first one is 9/12 with Sharon Spellman, and the second is 10/4 with Sol Radow. And I see that many of you have signed up, but we'd love to know who you are. We won't, no charge, but we just want to know who will be participating. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ellen, and thanks for all the work you continue to do. We'll close these words, Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom Niloma. Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu. Be'o Yisrael. Be'imru Hamed.
Yaseh Shalom. Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu. Yaakov Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom. Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu. Yaakov Yisrael.
Some words of blessing for all of us in this community and beyond. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. May God be kind and gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And may you feel a presence of holiness with you always, and may that lead to shalom, to peace, and shlemut, to completion and wholeness. Shabbat shalom, everybody. I'll stop our